Everybody, and welcome back to our next episode of Brains, Bibles, and Beyond.
Beyond.
We welcome all you budding theologians to come along with us as we explore worldview apologetics. I am Nate Day, and this over here is Joel Willoughby. And some have said that they listen to our podcast.
Oh yeah,
but we're a little skeptical.
It's out there.
It's on the internet. So, so thank you for finding us. Hopefully you enjoy this. We last time started a conversation. Joel ambushed me and then tried to make me defend what he was supposed to defend about is war moral.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But before we get into that, all right, everybody, grab your theological receptacle and let's get started. You know, I forgot I had pop in there. That was a little carbonated. Well, maybe choked it out.
Exciting.
We have our first segment, which is Stump the Theologian. So we have two questions today. All right. So first question for the theologian.
Okay.
Who is your favorite gospel writer and why?
No.
So there's four gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
There's only one gospel.
But there are four writers. And there's
So
the Gospel of Mark, the Gospel of Matthew,
according to Matthew.
Gospel
according to.
Yeah.
So that's a super tough question because
each of them kind of have their own topic.
So it kind of goes back to
view.
If someone says, what's your favorite book of the Bible? My answer is the same for everybody. It's the one you've read or studied the most recently or the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of the same thing still with the four gospel perspectives there. I really love John, and I might have to just pick that one. If I had to pick one, maybe. Just John is so simple and complex at the same time. It's very evangelistic. I really love just the simplicity that he has going through that. But then Matthew has all the, more of the Jewish references and things. And you have all that, the Olivet Discourse and stuff, the Sermon on the Mount, gives them bigger versions of stuff like that I really, really, really like. And then you have, Luke, he's the historian. And he writes
like
this
details.
Theophilus guy. And so it's like, what a work. And that's only the first half of it because Acts is the second half. And so it's like, that's a huge, wonderful work together. So complete, so beautiful. And then Mark is just so exciting, action-packed. It's all about who is Christ,
If I was to pick one, I'd pick Mark.
You'd pick Mark?
Just in general, it's the funnest read. Jesus the superhero, right?
Yeah, it's a quick, action-packed.
It's just here, look at all these awesome things Jesus did.
Yeah. It's like the closest thing we have to like the comic book version. It's just like, he's the superhero. I love it.
But you would say John.
If I had to pick one, I think I would probably have to go for John. And that is tough. But I think I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, okay.
I always struggle with that question.
Why in there. Okay. So, following up with that.
Oh.
John 19 doesn't mention Simon bearing the cross of Jesus like the other Gospels. Why is that?
Well, you could ask that question for a million things, Not all the gospel perspectives has the same details. It's kind of part of the beauty of it. I would just say this. There is a great joy in harmonizing the gospels, to put them all together to see how they fit beautifully. And then you have more complete details on certain subjects. That's very rewarding, and I would encourage you to do it. However, I would say that more importantly, actually, is to take each gospel perspective in its own writing, understanding that they wrote exactly what they did, not because they had amnesia of other events and things, but because they're actually trying to teach a very certain thing. Why did he leave them out? For John, he's already writing a lot. If you think about even just the work it takes to write such a huge manuscript like that, there's no backspace and stuff. You're handwriting this thing. And, to leave out details like, well, how important of a detail was that? John just didn't think it was that important of a detail, and especially because he wrote after everybody else.
He basically skipped the whole thing. Just for everybody who's not familiar exactly with what John says, basically, John 15:16, but they cried out, away with him, crucify him. Pilate said to them, shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, we have no king but Caesar. Then they delivered him to them to be crucified. So they took Jesus and led him away. And he, bearing his cross, went out to a place called the place of the skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him and 2 others with him, one on either side and Jesus in the center. Just completely skip that whole detail of actually carrying his cross out there. I mean, they mentioned bearing his cross, but that's it.
And it's like, I think the bigger question would be, why did the other gospel writers include it? Mm-hmm. And you'd have to look at the context and you have to analyze all that. With him, it's just, I don't think that he's missing something for his purpose. And what did he write? He wrote these things that you may believe, right? It's a very evangelistic thing. And I think his focus has just been on Jesus, and he just didn't find that detail to be necessary to help someone to believe in Jesus. And so, that's just a simplistic way to look at it, but it could be something else. But I think it's more important to, like, why did they have what they did have is the better question.
And we do know that John was one of the eyewitnesses there, right? Like he was
correct.
there watching Jesus be crucified. I guess we don't know if he followed along with him, but we do know he was there when he was being crucified because Jesus was talking to him from the cross.
And he's writing this as an older man now.
Yeah.
He was a young boy when it happened.
But you wouldn't forget details of this. So he would have
omitted
it just because it wasn't relevant to the point he was making. Or
Matthew, Mark, and Luke were already in circulation. Mm-hmm. He had read those works.
Sure.
And so, hey, if it's mentioned all those other times,
I mean,
do I need to say it too? I don't know. So good
bottom
question.
Bottom line is, we don't know why he omitted it.
Sure. No.
Other than it just wasn't relevant to the point he was trying to make.
Good question. Good question.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So did we stump the theologian? You be the judge. Maybe he doesn't know why.
Oh.
He did not know what John was thinking.
That's true. I'll give you that one.
So, but yeah, to the point, there are definitely some omissions in some of the Gospels when you compare them to each other.
Quite a few.
They don't change the story, obviously. They just don't give all the details in each of the Gospels.
Right.
So, all right, moving on.
All right, bada boom.
So we are discussing is war good?
Yeah, like the morals, the ethical code of war here, the morality of it. And so last time, it's kind of our part 2 here. And so last time, just gave these 4 major views, just like a quick, like a 1-sentence summary of them. I'll run through that again, just in case, a little refresher. But then what we did last time is we talked about some other kind of introductory items. And then I essentially took the position of a pacifist. And Nate didn't see it coming. He didn't know I was going to do this, and just kind of put him to trial there, like a little, impromptu debate, and to see what would happen. Just kind of flesh out that idea, get people thinking. And so I'm going to do that again with a different position for this time around. But the 4 major views: pacifism, basically war is never good. That's the idea. Realism, war justifies itself. This is the way the world works. This is the way it has been, and how it always will be. That governments are in pursuit of power.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Just,
drink, marry, and kill people.
Yeah. Holy war, that'd be like, crusades or jihad kind of stuff. And it's the idea of we're going to expand our faith system through war.
Convert or die.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially.
And that has happened over the years by many different organized religions.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. But I think more so than what people realize, actually. So,
yeah.
But anyways, then we have like the just war. And so that would be just the idea that, hey, look, there's legally constituted governments that God put in place, and they have responsibility for all citizens, all faiths, to uphold justice and peace for everyone. And so what's the best way to do that? Sometimes it's war. That's the idea.
Sure.
All right. So are you ready? Ready for this?
I'm ready.
I'm not going to name the position yet because I just want us to focus on the information. The information
and
at
I
hand.
have no idea what position you were talking about. So I'm going to find out here in a minute.
Okay, here we go. Okay, and now I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to make it obvious right in the beginning. So I have some notes here in front of me, but if I say what I was really going to say at first, it's going to be obvious, I think, right now.
Okay. All right. Just make it unobvious.
Okay. So God is sovereign. Okay. So that basically just means that he has authority. That's the biggest thing is authority. There's other things that come with that, but there's authority is the biggest thing.
God's sovereignty is a whole nother topic that can be discussed at some point.
Yeah, so I'm trying to keep it simple right now for that. So, he's often seen as working through the governments of the world.
Sure.
Okay, so like there's an element of freedom. There's this element where God's in charge. Okay, so there's like a kind of it all works together, but I'm not wanting to try to explain that right now. I just want to get to the point here. So God's sovereign, and he's often throughout Scripture seen working through, actually very like harsh and morally ambiguous states, if you will, governments.
Sure.
There's the emphasis on God's providence over messy power politics. Even Assyria is called, the hired servant or something like that. I'm trying to paraphrase here.
Sure.
It was called a servant. God has raised up nations like Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Greece, Rome, Persia.
Yeah.
You can go on and on and on. Raise them up. They accomplished a purpose, and usually, because they have done sinful things, they're back down, right?
Yeah.
But he's working through that. It's kind of an interesting idea. This world that we live in is driven by power, and there's always threats to that power. And so these governments, these states, they got to use whatever means are necessary to survive and protect their interests. Okay. And so moral rules either really don't apply, or they have to be modified in war because you have this self-preservation that is natural, and really it's just kind of like instinctive, like animals have instincts, and so obviously God has put us in this world where we are, and it just seems appropriate and natural to me that your face.
You can't even say all this with a straight face, can you?
Not looking at you with your face. Oh my goodness. It just seems natural and appropriate to me that
killing people is part of the game, huh?
Yeah, these nations are going to go to war. They have to go to war. It's not necessarily that you desire war as much as it is a necessity of just how life in the world works. There's always war. Kill or be killed kind of a thing, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, your part of your statements are true.
What part do you think is true?
I don't even know. I lost track a while ago. You just start getting a little more far-fetched. God's in control. That was true. God is sovereign. God does use...
And he works through other...
God uses nations, raises up nations. God raises up leaders of nations. God puts leaders of nations down. God puts nations down. God uses one nation to punish another nation. You see that all the time in the Bible.
And through war.
And it's through war, yeah.
So really, those are right things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
God's doing it.
Oh, man, look
but
at
then
this.
you went from that to... We should just be at war because it's normal.
Oh, yeah. It's natural.
Well,
just like animals rip each other apart. I mean, even like Daniel 7, right? The nations are viewed as these wild beasts.
Yeah.
They're just tearing each other apart.
I'm not arguing that.
And, I mean, to not do that really would seem unnatural to me.
No, I would disagree with you there.
What? Why would you disagree with me?
I don't even know. I just disagree.
I mean, you expect the wolf to go tear up the sheep.
I expect the wolf to tear up the sheep?
Yeah. And it makes the wolf stronger.
And
better.
There are wicked people running wicked nations that will go tear up sheep. That doesn't make it okay.
I mean, we all agree in self-preservation, self-betterment. It's the same thing with governments, really.
No.
And we're really we're a group of people. We're kind of a unified body of people that are getting stronger.
Doesn't sound like we're very unified. All we're doing is fighting wars. What are you talking about?
War has been...
Hey, you know the best way to unify? Let's go fight a war.
Yeah, that's real. Look at history.
No. It can bring nations together.
Oh, definitely.
It can bring nations apart.
What happened at 9/11? Our country came together so well. And that's happened with the world wars.
Yeah.
There's been lots of wars that even aren't... We have unified and we have become a stronger people.
Yeah. Especially through civil wars. Definitely unifying.
Well, that was like, hey, South, you're not going to become a different nation. You're going to be our nation.
So just talking about this in general. Obviously, you're taking a position that you're taking the one position of, hey, wars is part of life, and this is good. This is do it.
Realism.
The realism view. Okay,
it's just real.
This is bring back to reality, though. There are different reasons for things, right? There are different motives. Some motives are good, some motives are bad. Sometimes God uses bad people's bad motives for his purposes because he's still sovereign, right?
Yeah.
And you may think that you're doing it, but really God's doing the whole thing, right?
So if we're not even really doing it,
but that doesn't make what your decision is good. Like if you are a bad person making bad decisions and having bad reasons for those decisions, that doesn't make it okay.
Well, if God's
whether
doing
you
it,
do it at a national level or an individual level, just like I can't go down the street and just say, I want your house and take it. This is an unjustified war, let's put it that way. And some things are just not right. And then also how you conduct yourself sometimes is just not right. That doesn't mean that there aren't certain cases where war is justified and war is necessary, or even in defense of your own homeland or so. Obviously, if you're attacked, you should go to war and defend your country. But
how is it that we have all these conveniences in America? The wealth has been built off of war. Same thing with all the powerhouses like England things.
I wouldn't say the wealth is built off of the war.
Oh man, we got wealthy off some war.
We're in a lot of debt in America. If you haven't noticed,
everybody's in debt.
38 trillion in debt right now. I don't know if we call that wealthy.
You tell other countries that America's not wealthy. You tell.
I do all the time, and they don't believe me. But
you talk to other nations about this. Is that what happens?
What every American, if every American paid off their portion of the debt, is what 100,000 or something like that.
Oh, it's probably more than that. It's crazy. It's
how many people live in America now?
No, more than 5.
7 million.
What number? What did you say?
300 and some million, right?
Yeah, it's getting up to 400 million.
Let's get her debt. How many people live in America?
I'm gonna say right now you're looking at just about 400 million. It's gonna be a little less still, I think, but it's about 400 million. That's my guess. Yeah, this chaotic world. Every government really, this is self-interested.
341.96 million. By the way, that would be 400 million if we'd stop killing our babies. All right.
And then, but when was that data?
That's just 2024.
See, old. We're growing like crazy. Okay. Hey, look. Here's the deal.
Okay. So it's based on the last number we have, which was last year, 342. So we owe 38 trillion. I think we're in our debt now.
We're probably like 370 million.
How many zeros is that? 30. I can't even.
I think we're losing focus here.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, well, but you're not paying attention.
I'm paying attention.
Get back to me. All right, listen to this.
Billions, trillions, divided by.
You got. See, you're not.
342.
You can't stop him, audience. You can't stop this guy. He's a runaway train.
I'm a runaway train. Oh, were you still talking?
Oh my goodness, I can't do this.
Yeah. So every person in America owes $111,000.
That's less than I thought.
If all of us paid that, we could pay off our national debt.
That includes like just born people.
Yeah,
right?
that's everyone.
Yeah.
If I did the math right, someone will probably check that.
All right. Okay.
But tomorrow that would be higher because our debt keeps going up.
So every government here has to govern unbelievers, and there's mostly it's unbelieving people and things, and really you have like the idea of making disciples, the church work. Really, that's separate from the secular governments. Mm-hmm. And so, how do secular governments operate? Well, I mean, you can kind of say, well, I wish they would do this or what. The reality of it all is they are just interested in their own selves. No matter what, you want your country to succeed more than anyone else's, as a government, especially.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, how do you do that? A lot of times, it's war. Think about any great country. They are great because they have won wars.
No, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true.
Which is what provides for their people. Mm-hmm. That's how they, America, we have a great life because we've won wars.
Yes.
We got the power, which gives us a lot of leverage in this world. And even the other, powers of the earth, that's kind of how it works, Yeah,
we started off by beating, us in England winning the French and Indian War, which gave England control of half the United States. Then we beat England in our Revolutionary War because they would not, King George would not accept our demands, right? Which then gave us half the United States.
They can't even imagine the taxes we have today, but
yeah, they would
lose their minds. There'd be so much tea in the ocean.
What, a 2% tax? And
so much tea
on like a couple things, and we're like, yeah,
that's kind of what gave rise to coffee.
Just does everything better, right?
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, we started off, with war and then justified wars, in their sense, and we wanted our freedom because we were being unfairly treated, and there you go. So yeah, to your point, yeah, nations look out for their best interests, and war is one of the ways they do that. That doesn't always mean it's morally justified. Sometimes your best interest, in your opinion, isn't necessarily morally justified.
Well, like you said, because you agree that God's sovereign in all of this.
Yeah.
You say God's doing it.
Yeah.
Romans 13, right? For there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. And this is the way God's moving the world. Mm-hmm. And so really it should be encouraged.
I still don't know if it should be encouraged.
It seems to be.
I don't feel like it should necessarily be encouraged.
You wouldn't want to encourage God's work?
I mean, the whole Bible talks about peace, right?
Well, and the whole Bible.
No, there's times of no, definitely not peace. But the end result, right? What we're trying to achieve, and man has been trying to achieve this without God. Bring on our own utopia, sometimes through war. Because if we can conquer everybody else, then we can be in charge and have peace.
Okay.
And ultimately, we're going to have peace, right, with God.
So what should not be encouraged with war?
What should not be encouraged?
Yeah. What should not be
general,
encouraged?
I mean, I don't understand. What's the question?
So I said it should be encouraged.
You think war should be encouraged?
Warring, yeah. Go to war.
Yeah.
Be supreme.
I think praying for peace is good. I mean,
I want the best for my citizens. Let's be supreme. Let's conquer.
Yeah, well, part of me likes that. I like playing strategy. Part of me likes playing. I love a good game of Risk, right? Part of me is like, yeah, let's do it. But then the part of me who lives in this world is like, no, I don't really want to go to war. Like, I like peace.
That's the best way to have peace is be on top.
I like the good old days of the Cold War where you woke up every morning knowing you hated Russia, but neither one of you shot nukes at each other, right? Because that was just going to be bad. And then the Soviet Union fell, and now everyone's our enemy again. Used to just have one, but you probably remember those days.
The days of the Cold War. Ah, yes.
But
Okay.
ultimately, you had peace, right? And peace is good.
Yeah, so really, you
We
should
won
go to
peace.
war.
Peace is good.
It should be happening.
So we can conquer
You
everyone and have
conquer,
peace.
you're on top, you have peace.
Except for, are you really ever on top in this
I
world?
mean, when did Israel have their greatest dominance, the greatest peace they ever had?
When they were serving God.
When King Solomon ruled, after King David was a bloody man of war and conquered, he broke the backbone of the Canaanites.
But then Solomon kind of started falling away from God, and then the next generation, the kingdom split in half, and they go into civil war.
And you know what he stopped doing? Going to war.
They were at greatest peace when they were most closely following God.
When they had conquered everybody.
Yeah,
and then they started slipping away. They started doing the marriages, all diplomacy.
Part of Saul following God was he was giving you victory over your enemies. Yes.
Well, so the idea is though. So then, if I'm having victory over my enemies, I know I'm favored by God. So that's good. So that goes back to my point then.
Not necessarily. Because God also uses some nations to punish the other nations, whether they're favored by God or not.
Maybe my nation's the one that's going to be dealing out some punishment.
It could be. It very well could be.
And that would give us peace and prosperity.
Possibly.
Would it not?
Yeah.
It would. It absolutely would.
It could. That doesn't
so
necessarily,
you're actually,
that doesn't necessarily make it right, though.
You actually agree with me here?
No.
Are you taking this view?
No. What I'm saying is just because something can happen doesn't make it the right view.
Just because something can happen, yeah. But I'm seeing a pattern in Scripture where I think this is the way it's supposed to be. I mean, the Canaanite slaughter, the Israel comes in and wipes out everyone. You kill every man, woman, child, animal,
and God commanded it.
Yeah, exactly.
God gave ultimate kill orders,
and it was the best thing.
It was the best thing,
right?
No, the best thing would have been for the Canaanites to all repent of their sins and turn to God. And he would not have had to punish them.
Well, and what got their attention for repentance, because some did, it was the war.
Yeah, because
war's good. Look at you. I think I'm making too much sense here.
It has.
Am I right?
It has a place in this world. That doesn't necessarily make it good. It can be used for God's purposes. That doesn't necessarily make it ultimately good.
Well, I hear you saying that, but all I see is that every time there's war, God commands or is in control of all these different warring nations,
that's true.
And only good has ever come out of it.
Only good has ever come out of it?
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't say tell that to the losing side.
Well, that's why we all have to be geared up for war, because there is going to be war. It's the reality of it. There's always going to be war, and you better be ready. And really, you need to be proactive because it's going to happen.
I agree with that.
I mean,
you should be ready.
But there's some kind of thing out there where it tells you in how many centuries there's been certain a few minutes of world peace, where there's literally no country at war with each other.
Yeah, that's
it's a few minutes in centuries.
Yeah,
it's insane.
No, the fact that war happens all the time and you should be ready, especially as a nation, to defend yourself. Those are true statements. That doesn't mean it's good and that you wish to seek it out.
I think the governments are pulled by God to actually go to war, and that's how a lot of things are resolved. I mean, look, Daniel 10. You have Daniel 10. And so I'm jumping in the middle of something here, but you'll see the point. So let's say I start at verse 18.
Okay.
Again, one having the appearance of a man touched me and strengthened me. This is Gabriel, by the way. And he said, "O man, greatly loved." This is Daniel he's talking to. "Fear not, peace be with you. Be strong and of good courage." And as he spoke to me, I was strengthened and said, "Let my Lord speak, for you have strengthened me." Then he said, "Do you know why I've come to you? But now I will return to fight against the prince of Persia. And when I go out, behold, the prince of Greece will come. But I will tell you what is inscribed in the book of truth. There is none who contends by my side except Michael, your prince, of Israel." So the idea is you have these different, angels. In the case of Michael, it's an archangel, and they're representing these nations, and they're all at war and they're fighting. And so it is the natural course This is what's supposed to happen. This is the intended use here. We even have spiritual beings that are leading these things. To deny such a thing is denying God's plan. Wait, do you disagree?
I don't necessarily disagree.
It makes too much sense to you.
I definitely don't agree. No, so you can say truthful statements. That doesn't make the overall point correct.
War is inevitable.
Yes.
Survival, deterrence, and national interest justify harsh actions. If we don't do this to them, they will do worse to us. I want to protect my family, my friends, my loved ones, my fellow countrymen. The best way to do that is to proactively go to war and conquer the other nations.
If you're playing a game of Risk, it is. In real life, nah.
I think that a lot of people are just living in this naive optimism that, we're going to be fine. It's
agree.
Okay.
I agree with that.
But nations bear the sword.
And there is a place for proactive action, and there is a place for defending your nation, and there is a place for war. Those things are true, and it's also true that God is in control and raises up nations and takes down nations. Those things are true. But that doesn't ultimately mean that war is good and should happen, right? Just because God uses something doesn't mean that is the ultimate goal that we're trying to achieve, right? God used the God.
But God's good and God's doing it, so it must be good.
Yeah. God. My brain's hurting now. I don't even know what to say. This is so stupid.
It's not stupid. The idea is like, all I'm doing is I'm emphasizing prudence, strategy,
it's like,
deterrence.
I'm gonna go kill that dude in the street, because I happened, and God meant it for good.
I'll tell you what.
It could be, but I just let's murder somebody. Like,
if you know that there's a nation that is a good chance that they're going to go to war with you, you should strategize.
And I also think I should just sin and sin and sin and sin, because the grace of God will abound, and that's a good thing.
But see, it's not sin though. It's not sin, You're going out there and doing what God's intended you to do as a nation.
Why you do it matters.
And of course, it's a nation. We're not talking the individual level.
I'm still saying why you do it matters.
Romans 13.
There are
sword.
leaders in charge, and they have to answer to God for their actions.
But they are given a sword to do what's right. And there's a lot of evil nations out there. We should conquer them. There you go.
Part of me agrees.
Look at you.
Doesn't mean we should.
And so, audience, want to remind you that I am taking up a position here that I don't necessarily personally hold. But Nate is surprised by all of my information and things, and so you got to give him a break a little bit here. But you've heard how much he's agreed with me.
Well, you're just saying a bunch of facts and true statements.
Exactly.
Obviously, I agree with facts and true statements, but that doesn't mean that we should go to war.
Just because it's true and right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think I actually convinced you here because you just agreed it's true and right.
Yeah.
Wow. So, really, it's not a matter of, it's not the same sort of morality that there's an individual level. Governments, God's given them the sword, like Romans 13 says. Romans 7, he's intended these wild beasts. Daniel 10, you have the Greece, Persia, Israel, all this, and it's being spiritually led by these celestial beings. It's the way it ought to be. And God has raised up nations for war to accomplish his purposes. And so look at even America right now, big powerful nation. You think God has done that. We can only give God credit for that. And so for what purpose? Well, to conquer.
To conquer. I just love how it goes from this is war to conquer.
Yeah. Well, what's the point of war unless it's to win?
I don't know.
If you're fighting a war not to win,
wars to win anymore.
I think that there's some big problems out there when people are trying to fight wars and not having a goal to win.
I agree with that.
That's doesn't make any sense. Because God's designed us to conquer and to win, to dominate. We're just to dominate the earth. That's the original creation mandate.
To have dominion over the animals.
Well, the whole earth. The whole earth.
Yeah, no, that's true. And then we fell.
Nimrod was a mighty hunter before the Lord. He's the one that raised up all the greatest nations.
Yeah. Nimrod's not really known as being a good guy.
But he did what he was intended to do.
All right. So there's a verse in Matthew 5:9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God.
Oh, the individuals.
Yeah, yeah.
Not institutions.
Peace
Governments.
Is good. Yep.
Show me where it says a nation shouldn't go to war. You tell me that. It's because it's so natural. We're supposed to do it.
Okay, but nations are made up of individuals.
This world is broken. It's dangerous. It's ruled by power. This is just a part of the whole chess set here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, that's the whole argument. And Romans 13, the sword and state go together. God's sovereign over it all. This is what He has intended for us. It is in us to dominate. It is in us to take over, conquer, to become greater. That's who we are.
In our fallen state.
Did not God design us to dominate, to control, manage the earth?
Yeah. Hebrews 12:14 says, "Pursue peace with all people."
Individual level.
Yeah, it is. But once again, nations are made up of individuals.
So then you have like Psalm 2. Psalm 2 would be nations. So, why do the nations rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against His anointed, saying, well, there's the mistake.
Yeah, the anointed is
They're
Jesus.
trying to war against God.
Yeah, and we find out how that ends.
We don't war against God.
Well.
But the nations warring against other nations. That's...
Well, and the nations are trying to war against God.
And you even see that, how does Jesus, the ultimate example, with the ultimate kingdom...
He kicks their butt.
He uses war.
Yeah.
And He conquers everybody.
I agree. He does. Wipes them out.
I just want to be like my Savior.
Turn the other cheek.
Well, that's for an insult on the individual level.
We had this conversation.
We're talking about the institution. This is having foresight, wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you want to sit in the sidelines and just get destroyed by everybody else? That's not good for our citizens.
I agree.
I want if I am a government, I want the best for my citizens, the prosperity, the everything.
I do too.
And if you're not continually making progress, you're falling behind.
Yeah, I agree.
So then you have to conquer other nations.
Or you could just work hard and build a good economy and have a nice military set off to the side. Everybody's afraid to attack you.
Speak softly and carry a big stick.
Have lots of guns in your hands as the citizens, so that no one attack you.
Yeah, have them ready.
You see these stats I think just the deer hunters in Wisconsin would be the 8th largest army in the world or something like that.
I can believe that.
And then you have
Bears.
Michigan or Texas, even more. Yeah. And so you could just be a country like that, and guess what? Fairly safe. You don't have to conquer. You can just be prosperous. But ultimately,
you get soft. Without war, you get soft.
You do. You do get soft.
Yeah. Then you have all those little artifacts.
And when you get soft and comfortable, you pull away from God, and then God has to punish you by bringing in another nation to attack you.
So you have to continually be conquering through war as a nation.
It's inevitable. It's going to happen.
I feel like.
But does that make it?
You're
right?
a realist.
No, what I'm saying is just because it happens, though, doesn't make it right, and that's the question.
Yeah, that's right.
But you haven't proven morally that it's right. Just because something happens is right.
Well, because God has designed it this way.
Our producer over here, he sins every day. Does that make it right?
He's also fought in 7 wars.
At least. Can you name them all, though?
Well,
you can't.
I don't want to expose who this person is. He likes to be anonymous.
That's true.
I mean, it's like someone's been in 7 wars.
Okay. So we're still back to the point.
Down.
Just because something is inevitable and just because something happens,
yeah,
doesn't make it morally right
Yeah.
And also doesn't make it
Just because, you're right. Just because.
It doesn't make it the object of what we should desire to do. So yes, wars happen. Yes, God is in control. Yes, they are inevitable. They're going to happen. Is that what we should aspire to do, though?
So like with Daniel 2.
And it does not prove that we should. Now, there are cases, especially in the Bible, God like commands this, you go do this. So there are righteously justified wars.
Yep.
Not all wars are righteously justified. And just because they're going to inevitably happen doesn't prove that they're good and moral and should happen.
What war is not good?
No wars are good. People, they cause lots of pain and suffering.
God commands wars that are not good? Is that what you're telling me? You said no war is...
Yeah.
No war is good? That's your statement?
All right. I have to be careful on how I say this.
Okay,
right?
I'll let you rephrase.
All right, no. In God's sovereignty, he uses things for his glory and purposes. That doesn't mean that for the people going through this is a great experience.
Well,
right?
no. War hurts.
War hurts. There's death. There's pain. There's suffering. Those things are all bad, and they've been brought on by the fall.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of results of the fall which are bad.
Yep, exactly.
And just because God can make good of it and use them for his purposes doesn't necessarily make those individual things good. Mm-hmm. The end result is in God's plan and therefore is good, but the death, suffering, and destruction isn't good. It's just part of God's plan. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Well, I think I agree that realistically, if there was no sin ever, then there would never be war.
Yeah. That would be fantastic.
But the earth is broken.
It is broken.
Sin has happened.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah.
We all go to war.
Yeah.
And that's the natural course that God's set forth in the curse.
And I can't argue any of those points.
So there's nothing wrong with war.
But then you just admitted that it's not good.
The sin's not good.
It's a result,
like the original sin.
It's a result of sin.
Yeah.
And therefore, why should we do it?
Well, it's like this,
But there are times when it's justified and right and commanded by God, but not every time.
So it's like pain in childbirth for a human being was multiplied as part of the curse. Okay. Yeah. So when, my wife has given birth and she's been in incredible pain in that process. Yeah, I only know it from a distance, but
I hear that it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that I'm saying that, that's evil that she's experiencing pain.
No,
it's just a natural part of the curse, just like war.
But it's not good.
But it's not evil either. See? It's not really a moral element here. It's just what's going to happen. And it's natural.
Experiencing pain is not on the same scope as...
It's amoral.
Experiencing pain is.
Right, just like war.
But death and destruction is different.
Well,
because you're actively doing things to other people and property.
Okay, but God has commanded war where there's death.
Absolutely.
So it's okay.
In some cases, it's commanded by God.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so then we find out that
just because it is right and good in some cases doesn't make every case right and good.
God's been behind the scenes with every single war.
Yeah. And he uses them for his purposes.
So then it's all good.
And he uses them for his purposes.
Right. Yeah, so then we shouldn't try to stop it. We should actually encourage it.
No, see, so that's where you're logically making a jump that doesn't belong.
I think it does, because you think about like Daniel 2, Daniel 7, where God predicts these succeeding kingdoms. How do they succeed each other? It's war.
Absolutely.
And this is his intended purposes and plans. Yeah. He's arranging all these things. But there was
only 4 kingdoms.
Well, because there's more than that.
Well, if you count the Medes and Persians as 2.
Well, you had
and if you count Greece splitting it into 4. But no, there was the Babylonians, there was the Mede Persians, there was the Greeks, and there were the Romans.
And
it stopped with the Romans.
Then the kingdom of the Antichrist,
which comes out of the Roman Empire.
That's the iron mixed
So
with
technically,
clay.
we're still in the Roman Empire right now.
Well, that's because that's just the iron.
Technically, we're still in the Roman Empire, so we should be at peace worldwide because Rome took over, and there shouldn't be any war then.
Well, we're talking about
If you're using Daniel as an example,
Yeah.
war's done.
Well, no, I think
because
I
Rome
think
took
it's
over.
still.
Rome took over. No, they were the last one.
I do have thoughts on that.
I know it.
But
That's another podcast.
But yeah, I don't want to share. Yeah, exactly. So I have to pause on that because I don't want to go there.
We're done.
I do believe that
That we're still in the Roman Empire.
essentially that is the world power of today. Yeah.
The world powers of today, especially the Western world, definitely came out of that.
Well, okay, we'll pause.
But there are other
Okay.
powers in the world besides the Roman Empire at the moment.
Well, just like with Babylon rule, there was other powers in the world
Oh, yeah,
too.
absolutely.
But they were the one that was the main focus
They were.
of God.
Yeah,
And so-
specifically in that area that the Bible is written in, that affected
Yeah.
the people in the Bible.
So, with all these things that are going on, what was in the hearts of every one of those kingdoms that made them want to go to war and do those things? It was that natural instinct of we need to become great. We need to have prosperity for our citizens
Our
and
natural,
peace for our citizens.
Our natural instinct as human beings
Boom.
is to sin.
But this is the way.
So
This is part of the.
our natural instinct is not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to change.
But we're looking
and
at
be
whole governments.
And everybody in that government should change and be conformed to the image of Christ.
So what if?
And
What
if
if
everybody
they,
did that, there would be no more need for war.
Okay, but if they did that, then God's prophecies wouldn't come true. It would be a bad thing then if everyone trusted in God and decided not
It would
to.
be a bad thing if everybody repented and acted like Christ.
Well,
No, I disagree with that. That would not be bad. That
Oh,
would
yeah?
be a good thing if everybody repented
Well,
and turned to Christ.
then how do you explain this
We
one?
know they're not going to, but it would still be good.
Jesus once again prophesies his death, and Peter goes, "No, I'm not going to let it happen."
Yeah, he said, "Get behind me, Satan."
Right?
Yeah,
Because it was God's plan.
yeah. Jesus had to die for my
Right.
sins. You're correct.
So here's the idea: it's God's plan for there to be war among nations.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
So it may seem pretty
I
to
can't
say
argue with
no
that.
more war like some hippie or something, but the idea is that we actually should be encouraging it. This is God's plan for the nations, for the time being, to conquer, to become great.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to take over the world.
I think I'm making too much sense to you. I think this is going on
you
here
just keep saying the same point over and over again.
because it's
and you're still just
you say
making
it's
this
right.
logical.
You say
jump.
it's right.
You're making this logical jump from just because it is to it should be. And
Well,
there's
because
no
it's
proof. There's no proof for the
be-
should be part. I keep asking you for the proof of the should be part, and you keep saying the same thing. Well, it's always been. That's not proof that it should always be.
Well, not always. Jesus will be the final conqueror.
He will be,
Yeah, that's how it ends.
and he will do it with style.
And you know what he does?
And I can't wait.
When he conquers
And I
all
will
the
get
nations,
to be there to watch it.
when he conquers all the nations, he will give prosperity and peace to all citizens. This is what we're all doing, every one of us. Look, Jeremiah 17:9, right?
And so
the heart is deceitful above all things, desperately sick. Who can understand it?
I can't
Okay,
disagree.
it's all a bunch of sinners. This is just reality of
But
this is what happens.
but
It's a
this
natural
is-
course.
This is where a lot of your wars that take place are sinful because there are nations who have tried to bring on this utopia of God without God, and that's wrong. You can't bring in the kingdom of
right.
God
I'm
without
not-
God.
So here's the idea. I'm more on the side of it all being amoral. It's just the idea that if God has designed it this way, these nations conquer these nations. Well, God is good. Everything does is good. So then that part of it, I'm saying that's good then. But mostly when I look at like all of time, all of nations, I'm just saying it's an amoral thing, and they will always be fighting. And so I'm not going to try to stop that because that's the design that's there ultimately.
Okay, you don't have to stop it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
In fact, then just you're going to be a part of it because all the nations are doing it. So you might as well help your nation be the best. You might as well. Why not?
I agree.
It's all. So yeah, we should just whatever nation you're in, you should strive with your fellow countrymen
To have the best
to have
military
your
possible.
the high the most powerful nation because that's going to have because the bigger nation you are, the more powerful you are, the more prosperity and peace there is for the most citizens.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
There you go.
Can't argue with that.
That's the whole thing in a nutshell for me.
Can't argue with it. It's
as
true.
taking this position.
can't argue with it. It's true.
You're a realist. You're a realist. You don't know it. You're a realist.
I'm most definitely not a realist, but
well,
you just keep saying the same thing over again. So and
we'll see.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait till so here's what I'm gonna say now.
Okay.
We talked about pacifism last episode.
This is opposite of that.
And then this is the realism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much.
We shouldn't kill people. Realism is to kill everyone.
Not necessarily. No, conquer everyone. You don't have to necessarily kill them.
We need their tribute.
You conquer them. There is a difference. There is a difference.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and so then like there's holy war, which I didn't bother. You know,
done the holy war one.
It's that's Islam's jihad. There was the Catholic Crusades. And that's the two most popular
holy wars.
Yeah, those are the two most popular ones.
All sorts of organized religions throughout history.
So you can understand just because those are popular reference points.
Yeah.
So you can get the idea. So and I think it's pretty easy to kind of get past those. It's just obviously God does not want us to.
You'll have the same argument that you just did on this one. God wants us to conquer the world.
Well, I think what it would be is
it's His will that we take over.
It would be make disciples at all costs, and you'd have to be convinced that you can make disciples through violence.
I think the easiest argument against that is when Peter chops the ear off and Jesus puts it back on, so put your sword away. Live by the sword, die by the sword. That's not how Jesus' plan to convert people. And then we looked at the passage in Romans 12 on our last episode. And it's like, here, this is how you should live as a Christian. Be peaceful, right?
Right.
That's how we should live. Because then you're like, oh, that's for individuals.
Hey, now, calm down.
A nation is made up of individuals. Now but then once again with that doesn't mean war should never be happen or be justified. Because there are cases where it can be.
Jesus even told you, if you don't have a sword, you go buy one in Luke 22:36. Yeah. You don't have a sword?
He did say that.
He said, sell your cloak and get one. You better get one.
Why did he say that?
All right. You forced me to it. Let's get to the context.
What's the context?
All right. Sometimes it's more fun just to throw things out there, but
make up stuff.
No, that's scripture. But okay.
Yeah.
Luke,
but why?
Luke 22:35 says, and he said to them. So then before that, in Luke's compiling here, Jesus just prophesies Peter's denial of Christ, and he's talking about he's going on about basically the new covenant and what's going to be happening. He already had the Lord's Supper, that sort of thing, and so he's going through these final deals, and so they're looking toward the future. Yeah. And so you think about basically everything that's in the Gospels has essentially happened, for the most part.
Sure.
Okay. We're in the final week. All right.
Yeah.
Last few days. And so then he says in verse 35, and he said to them of Luke 22, when I sent you out with no money bag or knapsack or sandals, did you lack anything? They said nothing. So that was the one that the 70 disciples and stuff. And okay,
out to go do the witnessing.
And that's a whole other thing. But all right. So then verse 36, he said to them, but now, this is different. Moving forward, he's about to go to the cross, death, burial, resurrection. The whole gospel is about to happen here. He said to them, but now let the one who has a money bag take it, and likewise a knapsack. So God's working a little differently now. Okay, he's doing things differently. And let the one who has no sword sell his cloak and buy one. For I tell you that this scripture must be fulfilled in me, and he was numbered with the transgressors. That's the scripture. So in other words, the crucifixion is the idea. For what is written about me has its fulfillment. And they said, look, Lord, here are 2 swords. And he said to them, it is enough. 2 views on that one. Either he's saying that it's enough to have 2 swords among 12 people, and it's a mathematical equation of how to defend yourself, or my view, which is actually the minority view, is that he is frustrated with them because all these final things are happening. He just said he's about to go to the cross. He's going to be crucified. He's talking about how they're going to go out and make disciples of all nations. And what are they fixated on?
Killing people.
How many weapons do we need to have?
It's we can defend you. We got swords.
That's enough. That's how we would say it today. That's enough. And just kind of shutting down the conversation there, changing it. And that's when Jesus goes off and prays the Mount of Olives. So like showing like you think that physical sword is your ultimate weapon. So prayer is your ultimate weapon.
So back to my question. Why did he tell them to go buy the swords?
I think there is legitimacy. So this is actually really Joel Willoughby now. I'm not doing my fake position anymore. Okay. So I there is definitely legitimacy in defending yourself, defending your loved ones, defending your community, kind of a thing, and in a righteous way. So like, the bullies come and it's not just some little insult or something. They're actually threatening harm. And so you need to protect yourself. And especially out there, they're going to be making disciples. They're going to go through all sorts of dangerous terrain. And just to get an idea of that, just look at Paul's list of his hardships, because he did lots of traveling and all sorts of, thieves and all these other things, everywhere. And so, yeah, you should be able to defend yourself so you can do more for God's kingdom. Essentially the idea.
Did Paul ever defend himself?
Well, at times he did things like sometimes he took a beating when he didn't have to. And I think that was to model how it ought to be done. And there's other times he goes, "Are you about to strike a Roman citizen?"
Yeah.
So there was times he knew how to stand up for himself. There was times he talked back, so to speak, kind of put people in their places and things. But you don't really have a record of him being physical,
pulling out the sword.
But it's a whole other thing. He was the apostle. I mean, there was miracles and stuff, and it was different. Mm-hmm. Like that was the whole point of why it's different now with the 70 going out. They were doing miracles, so they didn't have to have the sword and things. But then, okay, you're not actively doing miracles on command. Yeah, okay, get a sword. God gave us a lot of tools, and we don't want to dismiss the power of prayer and trusting in God. But God did design us in such a way and made us aware that we have wolves around us and we are just sheep. And so, hey, you need to have a tool in your hand to help you against these wolves in that real physical sense there. Because, we do have a spiritual warfare that is definitely primary for us. But we also are aware of the world that we're in. And there is people that want to physically harm you. And God says, hey, you have this is my paraphrase. Hey, you got a responsibility, especially as me as a man. I'm married. I have kids, husband, father. I have to protect them to the best of my ability with the circumstances I'm in, everything like that. So anyways, yeah, that's a fun passage. It's really interesting. I think there's a lot of application that you could take from those few verses there in Luke 22. Mm-hmm. And I hope we're learning things. Once again, the big thing here is I'm introducing a lot of ideas to help us think through it. Like, what is actually most scriptural? What does God want us to do? Is it the pacifist position? Is it the realist position? I don't think really anyone here in America is going for the holy war position. Like, that's not really as far as Christians go today, that's not really what anyone's pushing. But then there's the just war. And so what I want to do is present those ideas next. In this series. And so that is, now that I've gone this far, just war, if it's not obvious by now, that's my position. And it's, goes back to Augustine and things, way back. He's the one that kind of introduced the ideas, at least on record. On record, he did. So,
okay.
But I'll wrap it up there with that one, because otherwise we're going to open up a whole other can of worms.
All right. We like cans of worms.
Yeah.
Yum, yum. All right. Well, guys, that's it for today. Hopefully gave you something to think about. And once again, if you want to send Joel some hate mail, send it our way.
Yeah.
We will see you guys next time.
All right.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You know what to do.
And hit that little bell.